10 signs you have traumatic intelligence. The rarest and most powerful form of smart. It's a normal dinner. Everyone's laughing, passing plates, talking over each other. But you felt it before you sat down. The tension still hanging in the air from the argument that happened an hour ago. Nobody said a word about it. They didn't have to. You read the room the second you walked in. They think you're the quiet one. You're just reading faster than they're talking. Lately, people online have a name for this. They call it traumatic intelligence, the idea that hardship rewires you into a rarer, sharper kind of mind. The label's a little dramatic. What's underneath it is simpler, and honestly harder to hear. You weren't born reading people. You were trained to. Somewhere early, in a room that never felt safe enough to relax in, your attention learned to work overtime and it never clocked out. That's the edge everyone envies. Tonight, 10 signs you carry it, but I won't pretend it came free. The same training that made you this sharp sent you a bill, and the last sign is where it comes due. If that first one landed tap-like, it helps the next man find this. Sign none. You've clocked the shift in someone's face, a flicker, gone in under a second and decided to say nothing. Most people need the words. You were done before the words arrived. Developmental researchers put it plainly. A mind raised around unpredictability gets tuned early to read faces for threat adaptive, then automatic now. It isn't a sixth sense. It's a scan that once kept you safe, still running long after the danger left. You didn't learn to read people. You learned to survive them. Sign 2. They called it a gift the way you know what someone needs before they do. It wasn't a gift. It was a job you were handed early. Someone says they're fine. You already heard the thing under the word. When the mood of a room decided how your whole day went, you learned to track it like weather. That's not anxiety. It's a forecast you never asked to run. You knew the room had changed before anyone gave you a reason. Sign 3. Everything's coming apart, bad news. Raised voices. Someone losing it. And you go quiet. Steady. Almost cold. While the room panics, you're already sorting it. First this, then that. Move. There's research on this. In measured doses, hardship builds resilience instead of breaking it. Whether it sharpened you in the moment or just made the chaos feel familiar, the calm reads the same from the outside. They'll call you detached later, once it's safe to have opinions. Let them. You were the one thing in that room still working while they fell apart. They called it cold. It was the only thing left standing. If you've made it this far, you already know you're not the man who needs the room, explained to him. You read it on the way in. That's who I make these for. The old souls who see 3 moves ahead and say almost none of it. Subscribe, the next one finds you. Now, the sign most people get wrong. Sign 4. How long do you spend rewriting a text before you send it? You replay conversations. You draft the perfect comeback for an argument that ended last spring. When people didn't make sense, understanding them became survival. So you became a full-time analyst of everyone, which is exhausting, frankly. Normal people hear I'm fine and eat their sandwich. You've opened a 4-tab investigation, cross-referenced 2 years of texts, and reached a verdict nobody asked for. Somewhere there's a perfect reply to a message from 3 years ago. You wrote it. Twice. Sign sync. You don't ask for help. You never really learned how. It's 1 a.m. Something's broken. And you'll teach yourself to fix it before you'll text the one man who'd have said yes in a heartbeat. When leaning on people once meant getting let down, competence became the safest place to live. It made you capable of almost anything. It also made you carry things you were never meant to carry alone. You became your own backup, because for a long time, no one else applied for the job. Sign 6. A song comes on and something moves in your chest before your mind even names it. A stranger's small kindness can catch you flat. Injustice doesn't annoy you. It lands, physically, like a hand on the sternum. A system tuned to feel everything in a room doesn't get to choose which feelings it lets through. People call that too much. What they mean is they don't feel it that loud. It doesn't reach your ears. It reaches your chest, and it gets there first. Sign 7. It's late. The house is finally quiet. And you're not. Stillness should feel like relief. For you, it feels like the pause before something breaks. And so you fill the hours another task, another screen, another reason to stay useful, because the silence has a way of asking the one question you've spent years refusing to sit still long enough to hear. A nervous system trained to stay alert doesn't switch off, because the calendar says it's safe. The threat left a long time ago. Nobody told your body it was allowed to stand down. Sign 8. People think you're guarded. You're not guarded. You're expensive. You don't hand trust out, you watch how a man treats people who can't do anything for him, and you take your time. When safety was never guaranteed, you built a filter most people never needed. And here's what the ones who left too early never found out. Once a man is actually in, you don't waver. You show up. You keep the secret. You're the last call that still gets answered at 3 a.m. Slow to let a man in. But once he's in, you're the last one still standing beside him. Sign. Neuf. You can read every man in the room. When did you last read the one in your chair? You name what everyone's feeling. Your own stays in a language you never learned. When you spend years adapting to whoever's in front of you, the self underneath goes quiet and stays quiet. So you can hold a whole room together and still not know what you actually want from your own life. You can read every man in the room. The one in your chair stays a stranger. Sign Dece. You don't move through life casually. You never could. You've looked at pain up close, yours, other people's, and refused to let it mean nothing. The researchers who study growth after hardship are careful about one thing. The growth never came from the hardship itself. It came from what people did with it afterward. So this was never proof you're special. It's proof you kept building when going numb would have been easier. The bill came due a long time ago and you paid it. What you buy with what's left is still yours to spend. One honest warning before we close. The same skill that keeps you safe can keep you alone. Reading everyone is not the same as being known by anyone, and the picture for men is hard right now. More of us than ever have no close friends at all. So don't let the radar become the whole life. Find the 2 or 3 men you don't have to scan, the ones you can just sit beside. That's not weakness. That's the part the training never got around to teaching you. Here's what I want you to walk out with. The edge is real. You read rooms. You stay calm. You carry more than anyone knows. And the cost was real too. The nights you can't rest, the self you can't quite reach. Both are true at once, and you don't have to choose one. You're not broken. You were never broken. And this was never a gift handed down. It's a power you were made to build, the hard way. That's the rarer thing. You're a man who was trained early, without his permission, and who's still standing, still reading, still here. The how you got here part is already written. The what you do with it part isn't. If any of this read like it was written about you, it was. Subscribe, and the next one's already waiting. And in the comments, tell me the number that hit closest and the one you'd hand back if you could. On the screen now, 2 more that go deeper into the way your mind learned to work. 1 on the things sharp men do that everyone misreads. 1 on what the quiet really costs. Pick whichever one finds you.